When you look in the mirror, do you really see yourself? Or do you see the version of you the world has tried to break? The version society told you wasn't good enough, strong enough, or worthy enough? Too many people live their entire lives carrying the weight of doubt, hiding their true potential behind fear and excuses. But let me tell you something. Every single person who ever achieved greatness had one thing in common. They believed in themselves when no one else did. Life doesn't hand you confidence. It doesn't deliver success to your doorstep. It demands that you decide right now that you are capable of far more than the lies you've been fed. Believing in yourself isn't just about thinking positively. It's about standing up when you've been knocked down, fighting back when you're exhausted, and refusing to quit when everyone expects you to surrender. The world will test you. It will mock you. It will try to destroy you. But belief is the armor that makes you untouchable. Stop waiting for approval. Stop waiting for permission. The moment you choose to believe in yourself, you become unstoppable. And that's when life bends to your will instead of crushing you beneath it. Belief is the invisible force that separates those who simply exist from those who create legacies that outlive their names. It is not a luxury. It is not optional. It is the foundation upon which all greatness is built. Without belief, talent remains hidden, skills are wasted, and potential turns into regret. Every empire, every invention, every revolution, every victory was born in the mind of someone who chose to believe when the entire world whispered that they could not. The truth is, the human spirit was not designed to be average. It was designed to rise, to conquer, to reach heights that once seemed unreachable. But none of that becomes possible until you decide to believe in yourself. When a person believes, they unlock a part of themselves that most never access. Belief gives you the courage to take the first step when fear tells you to stay still. It gives you the strength to keep moving forward when pain screams at you to stop. It is belief that whispers, "You are capable in the darkest nights of doubt." History does not remember the comfortable, the safe, the ones who hesitated. History remembers the ones who stood in the storm, who defied the odds, who believed so strongly in themselves and their mission that they made the impossible inevitable. Belief is not built overnight, but neither is greatness. It is forged through the fire of adversity, through rejection, through loss, through sleepless nights of questioning everything. And yet each time you refuse to give up, your belief strengthens like a muscle being torn and rebuilt. Doubt is natural, but surrendering to it is fatal. The difference between a failure and a legend is often nothing more than the decision to believe a little longer, to fight a little harder, to rise one more time after falling. Greatness does not belong to the strongest body, but to the strongest mind. Think about the greatest leaders, the innovators, the champions in sport, in business, in war, in life. They were not born with certainty, they built it. They took steps into the unknown, betting everything on their own belief. When people laughed at them, when doors slammed in their faces, when friends and family doubted them, they didn't crumble, they doubled down. That belief became their fuel, their shield, and eventually their crown. Belief is not arrogance. It is the recognition that you are meant for more and that you are willing to suffer, to fight, and to sacrifice until the world has no choice but to see what you saw all along. Belief is contagious too. When you carry yourself with conviction, others feel it. They are drawn to it, inspired by it, and influenced by it. A single person with unshakable belief can change the direction of nations, move millions, and ignite revolutions. Why? Because belief is rare. Most people drown in self-doubt, paralyzed by fear, waiting for someone to give them permission to rise. But the few who truly believe in themselves don't ask for permission. They take what they know is theirs. They become living proof that greatness is not about luck, but about mindset. The tragedy of life is not in failing, but in never daring to believe in the first place. How many dreams die before they are even born because the person carrying them was too scared to try? How many lives are wasted because someone listened to doubt instead of their inner fire? The graveyard is filled with unfulfilled potential, with inventions never built, with songs never sung, with battles never fought, all because belief was absent. But when belief is present, life itself bends. Challenges turn into opportunities, failures become lessons, and struggles sharpen you into someone unrecognizable from the person who first started. Greatness demands belief because greatness demands risk. It demands you step into arenas where defeat is possible, where humiliation is possible, where pain is inevitable. Without belief, you will never dare to step inside. But when belief drives you, you stop fearing failure and start fearing mediocrity. You stop worrying about what others think and start obsessing over what you know you can achieve. That is when you become dangerous, because a person who believes in themselves cannot be controlled, cannot be broken, and cannot be stopped. The foundation of all greatness is not luck, it is not wealth, it is not connections. It is the deep, unshakable belief that you have within you what it takes to create something extraordinary. Once that belief is set in stone, nothing can break it. The storms may come, people may betray you, life may try to knock you down again and again, but as long as belief lives inside you, you will always rise. And when you rise enough times, when you fight through enough storms, you will look back one day and realize that what you once only believed is now your reality. That is the power of belief. It transforms dreams into existence and ordinary people into legends. The world will doubt you. Believe harder. From the very first moment you dream of doing something greater than yourself, the voices will come. The ones telling you that you are not enough, that you are reaching too far, that you should settle for less. They will question your every step. They will laugh at your ambitions. They will call you foolish for daring to think differently. And the louder your dreams become, the louder their doubts will echo. That is the reality of life. People are far more comfortable watching you remain small, witnessing you rise. But in the face of that doubt, you must build a fire inside you so powerful that their disbelief becomes your fuel, not your downfall. The world will try to break you with rejection, criticism, and failure, but if you believe harder, you will transform every doubt into a stepping stone that leads you closer to victory. Doubt is a poison, and it will come at you from every angle. Friends, family, teachers, society itself, they will project their own fears and limitations onto you. Most people don't actually doubt you because of who you are. They doubt you because they cannot imagine themselves succeeding, and so they assume you can't either. They doubt because your dreams expose their lack of courage. Your determination highlights their laziness. Your vision makes their small world look even smaller. And so they will try to drag you down, not always out of malice, but because it is easier for them to see you fail than to confront the fact that they gave up on themselves. If you listen to them, you will join them in mediocrity. But if you believe harder, you will rise above them and prove that doubt is nothing more than an illusion created by weak minds. The truth is, doubt is a test. It is life's way of asking you, how badly do you want it? Anyone can believe in themselves when people clap for them, when the path is clear, when the support is endless. But greatness is reserved for those who continue to believe when the room is silent, when the lights are off, when the world has turned its back. Believing harder means standing tall when everyone expects you to fall. It means pushing forward, even when your own mind tempts you to give in. It means refusing to let doubt become your prison. The more the world doubts you, the more you must double down on your belief, because that belief is the only thing that will carry you across the storms of life. History proves this truth over and over again. Every innovator, every leader, every champion was doubted before they were celebrated. The greatest ideas were once called impossible. The greatest victories once laughed at. The greatest people once dismissed. They were told they were too young, too old, too poor, too unqualified. Yet they chose to believe harder. They endured the ridicule, the isolation, the constant rejection because they knew that belief is the seed from which destiny grows. Without that belief, they would have given up long before history remembered their names. The world doubted them, but their belief crushed that doubt until the same voices that once mocked them were forced to applaud. Believing harder is not about arrogance. It is about survival. Because if you let doubt consume you, you will quit long before you reach your true potential. The journey to greatness is long, brutal, and filled with setbacks. There will be days when nothing seems to work, when failure feels permanent, when every sign tells you to give up. And in those moments, the world's doubts will echo louder than ever. But if you believe harder, you will rise again. You will use failure as a lesson, rejection as motivation, pain as a sharpening tool. Every doubt cast against you becomes another brick in the wall of resilience you are building around yourself. Understand this. The world does not reward the doubtful. It rewards the relentless. It rewards the one who stands up after being knocked down 10 times. It rewards the one who fights for years without applause. It rewards the one who believes harder than the critics, harder than the doubters, harder than even their own fears. Because when you believe harder, you tap into an energy that makes you unstoppable. You stop living for approval and start living for purpose. You stop chasing validation and start chasing destiny. And once that shift happens, the doubts of the world lose all power over you. One day, if you keep believing harder, the same people who doubted you will tell the story of how they always knew you would make it. They will rewrite their memory, pretending their disbelief never existed. But you will remember. You will remember the lonely nights, the laughter behind your back, the rejection letters, the empty bank account, the endless grind. And you will smile because you will know the truth. The world never believed in you, but you believed in yourself harder than they could doubt. That is why you won. That is why you became great. The world will doubt you, but that is not your problem. Your only responsibility is to believe harder, to push further, to rise higher. Let doubt be the background noise while your actions speak louder than every critic combined. Believe harder until your success silences the world. Believe harder until your name is etched into history. Believe harder because in the end, the only belief that truly matters is your own. Failure is one of the harshest teachers in life, and yet it is also the most valuable. Everyone faces it. Everyone stumbles. Everyone falls. What separates the ones who rise again from the ones who stay down is not luck, not privilege, not talent. It is self-belief. Self-belief is the unshakable voice inside you that says, this is not the end. I am not finished. I will get back up. Without self-belief, failure becomes a cage, trapping you in fear, regret, and excuses. With self-belief, failure becomes fuel, sharpening you, teaching you, forging you into someone stronger than before. Resilience is not the absence of failure. It is the ability to endure it, to learn from it, and to push forward despite it. And that resilience can only be born from self-belief. When life knocks you down, and it will, the easy path is to stay down. The easy path is to accept defeat, to tell yourself you are not good enough, to let the doubts of others become your truth. But if you carry belief within you, you will refuse to surrender. You will rise when your body aches. You will push when your mind screams to quit, and you will fight when logic tells you it's over. That belief will act as a shield against despair. It doesn't eliminate pain. It doesn't erase the sting of failure, but it gives you the courage to keep moving in spite of it. And that is what resilience truly is. Not a lack of hardship, but the relentless decision to keep going no matter what. Failure has broken countless people, not because they lacked talent, but because they lacked belief. They fell once and they convinced themselves it was final. They let one rejection, one mistake, one setback define their entire existence. But the truth is, failure only becomes permanent when you stop believing in yourself. As long as belief remains alive, failure is temporary. Every stumble becomes a lesson. Every loss becomes a step forward. Every heartbreak becomes the foundation for a stronger future. The resilient do not see failure as the end. They see it as part of the journey. And their self-belief allows them to embrace failure without fear because they know it cannot destroy them. Think of every great figure in history, every champion, every innovator, every leader. Their stories are not clean paths of endless victories. They are littered with defeats, bankruptcies, rejections, humiliations, losses that would have crushed ordinary people. What kept them alive was not some magical luck, but the unbreakable belief that they could rise again. Self-belief gave them resilience. It allowed them to take failure not as a wall, but as a stepping stone. Without that belief, the world would never have seen their brilliance because their journeys would have ended at the first obstacle. But with it, they transformed their failures into legacies. Resilience is not built in comfort, it is built in struggle, and self-belief is what makes that struggle bearable. When you know in your soul that you are capable of more, no defeat can take that away from you. Yes, failure will hurt. Yes, it will test your strength, it will make you question everything, it will try to strip you of your will, but belief turns pain into endurance, and endurance turns into resilience. With every failure you survive, with every challenge you overcome, your belief grows stronger, and so does your resilience. Soon, failure no longer frightens you because you know you cannot be broken by it. You can only be strengthened by it. Many people look at resilience as some superhuman quality, something rare and unreachable, but the truth is, it is nothing more than the product of self-belief repeated over time. When you fall and believe in yourself enough to rise again, you build resilience. When you lose and believe enough to try again, you build resilience. When the world laughs at you and you still chase your dream, you build resilience. Every act of belief in the face of failure is a brick added to the fortress of resilience that will one day make you unstoppable. Failure should never be feared because it is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. The only true enemy is losing faith in yourself. Once you lose that, you lose everything. But if you protect your belief, if you nurture it, failure becomes powerless. It cannot end you. It cannot define you. It cannot break you. Instead, it becomes a tool that sharpens you into a version of yourself you never imagined possible. Self-belief is the seed of resilience, and resilience is the path to greatness. Without belief, failure will crush you. With belief, failure will create you. That is the difference between those who live small, safe lives and those who rise to greatness. The ones who make it are not those who never fail. They are the ones who believe enough to keep standing back up every single time. And when you look back one day, you will not remember the failures as defeats, but as the moments that made you unbreakable. Confidence is not something you are given. It is something you earn. Too many people wait their entire lives for confidence to magically appear, as if one morning they will wake up fearless, certain, and unstoppable. But that day never comes because confidence is not born from sitting around talking about your potential. It is born from taking action, from stepping into the unknown, from doing the hard things that scare you until they no longer have power over you. Words are cheap, they cost nothing, they demand nothing, and they change nothing. Action, however, demands courage, demands sacrifice, demands consistency, and through that process, it creates confidence. The person who talks about what they will do but never acts will always remain fragile. But the person who acts even clumsily, even imperfectly, will build a foundation of confidence so strong that nothing can shake it. Every time you take action, no matter how small, you prove something to yourself. You prove that you are capable of showing up, that you are willing to face discomfort, that you can push through fear. That proof is what confidence truly is. It is not pretending to be strong. It is knowing you are strong because you have tested yourself. Confidence cannot be faked in the long term. You can tell the world how powerful you are, but when challenge strikes, only action reveals the truth. And this is why confidence built through action is permanent, it is earned, it is undeniable, it is yours. No one can take away the victories you fought for, the skills you sharpened, the battles you survived. Action creates momentum, and momentum builds confidence. The first step is always the hardest because it is taken in the dark with no certainty and no guarantee. But once you move, once you act, you gain experience, and experience turns fear into familiarity. Think about any skill you have now, whether it's speaking, writing, leading, or creating. The first time you did it, you probably stumbled, hesitated, maybe even failed. But the more you acted, the more natural it became. That is confidence. Not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it through repetition. The timid become bold, not by talking about courage, but by acting courageously again and again until courage becomes second nature. Words, on the other hand, are a trap. They give the illusion of progress without the reality of it. You can talk about your dreams, you can plan them, you can announce them to the world, but if you do not act, they rot. Talking may impress people for a moment, but when they see no results, respect fades. Worse than that, words without action weaken your own belief in yourself. Each time you promise something to yourself and don't follow through, you erode your confidence. You teach your mind that your words mean nothing, but each time you act, you do the opposite. You strengthen the bond of trust with yourself, and that trust is the root of real confidence. Confidence is also not built by waiting for the perfect moment. The world is full of people who tell themselves they will act when they feel ready, when conditions are right, when fear disappears. That moment never comes. Confidence does not precede action, it follows it. You act first, and then confidence grows as the reward for your courage. Those who wait to feel confident before acting will wait forever, while those who act despite fear will one day stand fearless. It is not talent that makes this difference, but discipline and bravery. Resilient confidence, the kind that makes people unstoppable, is built in the small, consistent actions repeated over time. It is built by waking up early when your body wants to sleep, by practicing when no one is watching, by speaking up when your voice shakes, by trying again after every failure. Each of these actions is a brick, and over time they build an unshakable wall of confidence. And when you stand behind that wall, you are no longer the same person. You are someone who knows through experience that nothing can break you. The most dangerous person is the one who acts relentlessly because their confidence is forged in fire. They no longer care about opinions because they know their worth through action. They no longer fear failure because they have failed before and risen stronger. They no longer doubt themselves because they have proven themselves through relentless effort. That kind of confidence is untouchable. It is not borrowed from others. It is not built on empty talk. It is carved into your soul by the life you have lived. If you want confidence, stop talking about what you will do and start doing it. Stop waiting for courage and start acting in fear. Stop imagining what life could be and start building it step by step. Every action you take, no matter how small, is a deposit into the account of confidence. And one day, those deposits will make you rich beyond measure in strength, in certainty, in resilience. The world respects action, and more importantly, so does your own soul. And when your actions align with your words, when your life reflects your promises, you will not only be confident, you will be unstoppable. When you believe in yourself, you don't just survive, you dominate. Most people go through life in survival mode. They wake up just to get through the day. They work just to pay the bills. They live just to avoid pain, and they settle for scraps because deep inside, they don't believe they are worthy of more. Survival is the default state of the doubtful. But belief transforms everything. When you believe in yourself, you stop crawling through life and start tearing through it with purpose. You stop begging for opportunities and start creating them. You stop hoping to be chosen and start making yourself undeniable. Belief takes you from living passively to living powerfully, from barely making it to standing on top, from merely surviving to outright dominating. Dominating life is not about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself. It's about waking up with fire in your chest because you know you're capable of greatness. It's about refusing to accept mediocrity when you know you can achieve excellence. Belief in yourself gives you that edge, that hunger, that relentless drive that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The truth is, survival asks very little of you. To survive, you can play safe, you can follow the crowd, you can do just enough to scrape by. But domination requires belief because it requires risk, courage, and resilience. It requires stepping into spaces where failure is possible, where criticism is guaranteed, where the weak minds will collapse. Without belief, you will never step into that arena. With belief, you don't just enter it, you own it. Believing in yourself gives you permission to dream bigger, but more importantly, it gives you the courage to chase those dreams with intensity. Survival is about avoiding loss. Domination is about chasing victory. When you believe in yourself, you don't fear losing because you know loss cannot break you. You don't fear rejection because you know rejection cannot stop you. You don't fear obstacles because you know every obstacle is a chance to prove yourself. That mindset is rare, and it's why most people never dominate. They are too busy protecting themselves from failure. But when you believe, failure is no longer something to fear. It's something to embrace, something to use, something to transform into power. Think about the people who inspire you, the ones who stand tall above the rest, the ones who write history instead of reading it. They were not born with a guarantee of success. They were doubted, criticized, laughed at, and rejected. But they believed in themselves so fiercely that they refused to settle for survival. They demanded more, not from the world, but from themselves. That belief became their weapon, their shield, their foundation. And with it, they dominated their craft, their challenges, their lives. They proved that survival is for those who doubt, but domination is for those who believe. The difference between surviving and dominating is the difference between existing and truly living. Survival is about breathing. Domination is about conquering. Survival is about waiting for luck. Domination is about creating destiny. Survival is about getting through the day. Domination is about owning the day. Belief is the line that divides the two. If you don't believe, you will always choose the path of least resistance. You will always shrink your dreams to fit your fears. But if you believe, you will make your fears shrink to fit your dreams. That shift is everything. Belief in yourself also changes the way the world sees you. People sense it. They feel it in the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself. Confidence born from belief commands respect. Opportunities find you because belief radiates power, and power attracts. The world doesn't open doors for survivors. It opens doors for dominators. for the ones who refuse to be ignored, for the ones whose belief makes them impossible to deny. And once those doors open, you don't just walk through them, you kick them down and build a palace inside. But domination requires sacrifice. You cannot dominate if you are half committed, if you are lukewarm, if you are stuck between doubt and belief. Belief demands all of you. It demands that you risk embarrassment, risk failure, risk rejection. It demands that you silence the voices around you and trust the one voice within you. It demands that you trade comfort for growth, excuses for discipline, hesitation for action, but the reward is worth it. Because when you truly believe in yourself, you stop playing on the level of survival and start playing on the level of greatness. The truth is, the world will not hand you dominance. It will hand you obstacles, setbacks, and pain. But belief transforms all of those into stepping stones. Every rejection sharpens you. Every failure strengthens you. Every struggle builds you. And as you rise again and again, your belief grows deeper. Your resilience grows stronger. And soon you are no longer competing for survival. You are dictating the terms of your own victory. That is what it means to dominate. It is not about avoiding the storms. It is about becoming the storm. When you believe in yourself, you don't just survive the grind of life. You own it. You bend it to your will. You take what you want, not because the world allows it, but because you decided it was yours. Survival is the bare minimum, but belief makes you limitless. And once you understand that, once you live it, nothing can stop you. You will not only rise above the doubters and the failures, you will dominate every challenge, every arena, every day of your life. Life will always test you. It will always challenge you. It will always try to break you. But the truth is simple. Whether you rise or whether you fall comes down to what you choose to believe about yourself. Time once lost is never returned. Discipline is the only path to freedom. Comfort is the silent enemy that steals your potential. Small wins compounded daily build unshakable greatness. And showing up every single day defines the legacy you leave behind. The world will doubt you. It will laugh at you. It will try to keep you small. But your belief must be louder than their voices. Because belief is not just an idea. It is the foundation of resilience, the spark of action, the fuel of confidence, the difference between barely surviving and completely dominating. And when you believe in yourself enough to face failure, enough to take action, enough to rise again and again, you become unstoppable. One day, those who doubted you will watch in silence as you live the life they never had the courage to chase. Believe in yourself, fight for yourself, and refuse to quit. Because the world belongs to those who refuse to break.